After 10 years of playing the guitar, I still couldn't write my own music. Today I want to share something with you that I learned that opened it up for me, maybe to help you out. If you're anything like me, songwriting, writing background music, all of this probably doesn't come very naturally to you. When I first started playing, I always wanted to be able to make my own music and whatnot, but I had no clue how to go about doing it. Alright, I could play other people's stuff, other people's songs, show me the chords, okay, G, C, D, all of that, and I could take that and run with it and I could play it well. But once I tried to make something on my own, it wasn't working out for me. Add on top of that, flash forward 10 years, and I meet this young girl that has absolutely no musical training whatsoever. And it just comes naturally to her. She can sit at a piano and write chord progressions that sound awesome, making awesome songs with melodies and everything, and literally no musical knowledge. So when that happened to me, I sort of said, you know what, man, like, if this girl could do it with no knowledge, and I've been playing for all this time, then I have got to start to teach myself this skill at this stage. So I went back to studying. Studying music theory is not necessarily something that I major in, but you know, I do what I have to. So I went back in and I started to study and study and study, and I still wasn't getting it. And then one day I found this lesson and it just clicked for me. Okay, and so that's what the theme of today's video is going to be about, this one thing that made it click for me, because I'm hoping that it'll make it click for you. And what is it? It's this thing that doesn't sound very fancy, but it's very powerful. It's called the Harmonized major scale. And what the Harmonized major scale is, it's something that comes from the major scale, and it allows you to come up with the chords that you need to make chord progressions. And from there, once you can make your own chord progressions, well, you can make your own songs. You can write your own songs, and you can write your own background music and all of that. So that's what I want to focus on today. We're going to do a slideshow format, and I'm going to share with you in detail the sort of nuts and bolts of how this thing works. Okay guys, so we're going to be talking about the Harmonized major scale, which I feel is a big key to being able to write your own music. So let's jump in. The Harmonized major scale comes from, or is derived from, the major scale, which we get by using whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. I'm assuming that you know how to get the major scale. This is going to be on the Harmonized major scale, but know that it comes from the major scale. And the beauty of the Harmonized major scale is that it gives you all of the chords that make up a key. So therefore, you can play in key guaranteed. Once you're using a Harmonized major scale and you have all the chords that are in that key, you can't go out of key, you can't go off key with your chords once you're playing with those chords. So how do we get these chords? So say you're starting in the key of C, you're starting, with the root note is C, right? Starting on the root note, you can build what's called a triad or three-note chord from stacking thirds. So like in this example I have C, E, G. So like if you're playing the note C in the C major scale, the second note is D and the third note is E. Right? So you're skipping a note, and going from E you can skip a note again and you get to G. And that's how you get the first triad or C major chord. To get the second chord in the key, you're gonna build a triad stacking thirds the same way by skipping notes, but you're gonna start with your first note as the second degree or D, and then by skipping a note, starting with D, you skip a note, you get F, skip a note again, and you get A. And that's how you get your second chord in the key of C major, right? But it's not a D major chord because it doesn't have the notes of D major. We're in the key of C major, remember here. So by building out, by stacking the thirds, building out starting from the first note, we're actually going to get D, F, A, which is a D minor chord. And you can keep going like that for all of the 7 different notes that are in the key of C major, and it gives you all of the chords that are in the key of C major. So like on a piano, the white keys, right? All the chords that come from the white keys. And essentially what we're doing here is we're taking that C major scale, that string of 7 notes, and we're harmonizing it. We're finding the notes that are in harmony with that key. So that's why we're calling it the harmonized major scale. Taking a major scale and we're harmonizing it. Okay? And this is how we get all the chords that are in the key. So like for the key of C major, if you do this process, you actually get these chords. C major, right? D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor. You get B diminished, and then you get C again when you return to the root note of the major scale. Doing this in other keys, like say the key of A major, you get a similar pattern. What you're noticing is the first note here is major, and so is the last one because it's the root again. And then you have these, notice just like in the key of C, the second and the third are minor, right? And then the fourth and the fifth are major again, minor, and look at that, the seventh is also diminished. So no matter what key you're in, because the intervals are the same, you're going to see the same pattern emerging with the majors and the minors, and with the seventh as a diminished chord, except that the notes of themselves are going to change corresponding with whatever key you're in. So like in the key of A major, if you play A major scale on your guitar or on a piano or whatever, you're going to get these notes: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. And then when you harmonize them, you're going to end up with these chords. So that's how we get the chords. And now I want to introduce you to something like that I call like the formula for the chords that are in, for a formula to memorize what chords are major and what chords are minor. So in any given key of the harmonized major scale, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, they're all going to be major. Okay, so 1, 4, 5, major. The 2 chord, the 3 chord, and the 6 chord, they're going to be minor. Okay, we have 7 tones in the major scale. So if you memorize 1, 4, 5 are major, 2, 3, 6 are minor, then that's only 1 left, right? Which is the 7th chord, and that's always going to be a diminished chord. Okay, so we have 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7. You have to memorize this. If you memorize this formula, you pretty much, I mean, that's like one of the precursors to being able to actually apply this stuff. You need to know which chords or which chords in the harmonized major scale are major, which ones are minor. You need to know that the 7 is always diminished. So again, one more time: 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor. You just gotta go it over and over until you have it memorized. And then the 7 is always diminished. So to review all of these topics, all these concepts that we went through here, which are pretty much the nuts and bolts of how the harmonized major scale works. Let's go through that. So first, you got to find the notes that are in the major scale for a particular key. So let's say you're in the key of G. Starting with the note G, you can use the pattern for the major scale, one of the major scale patterns, or you can use the interval steps, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, and you'll get the notes in the key of G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, right? And then apply the formula to those notes, right? So if I want to know in the key of G, I know the notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, right? Because the 7th is F sharp in G. And then G again. Apply the formula. What's the formula? 1, 4, 5. So G is major, A, B, C, the 4 is major, and the 5 is major, D. So G, C, D are major. Therefore, the 2, which is A, is going to be minor, B is going to be minor, and then E is going to be minor. And then F sharp is going to be diminished. So that would be an example of applying the formula in the key of G. And then, of course, now that you have the tools to work with, you can start writing some music. Today we focused on the nuts and bolts of what the harmonized major scale is, and we started to learn how it works so that we can later apply it. The next video is going to be more fun because we're going to actually start to put this thing into action, make our own chord progressions, and start to have fun with this thing. So for now, take care and have fun with that.